You know the moment. You're doing fine. Not perfect, just fine. Maybe you're pouring coffee. Maybe you're backing out of the driveway. Maybe you're opening your laptop, trying to start the day like a decent human being. And then, one thing. A sharp comment, a passive-aggressive email. Someone cuts you off like your life doesn't matter. A family member says one sentence that lands like a pebble in your shoe. Small, but impossible to ignore. And suddenly, the day isn't yours anymore. It's like your peace gets taken hostage by someone else's mood, someone else's careless words, someone else's impatience. If you've ever thought, why am I still upset about that? If you've ever carried an argument in your head for hours, if you've ever laid in bed replaying something that happened at noon, you're not alone. And there's a gentle Buddhist idea that can change the whole way you relate to anger, without forcing you to pretend you're fine. It's called the second arrow. Not a big concept, not a spiritual performance, just an honest way of seeing what's happening inside you. Here's what it means. Life shoots the first arrow. That's the actual event, the rude remark, the traffic, the criticism, the disrespect, the disappointment. But then, often without noticing, we shoot a second arrow. That second arrow is the story, the replay, the courtroom in your mind where you argue your case again and again. It sounds like, they always do this. How could they talk to me like that? I should have said something. They don't appreciate me. I can't believe I let that happen. The first arrow hurts, but the second one is where the suffering multiplies. And most of us, especially later in life, after we've been through enough, we're not just reacting to today, we're reacting with everything we've carried. Old fatigue, old grief, old times we weren't seen, old seasons when we had to swallow it and keep going. So when something pokes the bruise, it can feel huge. But here's the hopeful part. In Buddhist practice, we don't try to erase anger from the human experience. We don't shame it. We don't pretend we're above it. We just learn how to stop feeding it. And there are a few simple ways to do that. Ways that work in real life, in modern America, with real people. Let's start with the smallest one.
The one breath gap. Somewhere between what happens and what you do next, there's a tiny space. You might not notice it at first, but it's there. And that space is where your freedom lives. Not the kind of freedom where life stops being annoying, the kind where your inner life stops being dragged around by it. So the next time you feel the heat rise in your chest, in your throat, in your jaw, try this. One breath, just one. And on the inhale, name it softly. This is anger, or this is hurt, or this is disappointment. Then on the exhale, I don't have to feed it. That's not magical thinking, that's nervous system wisdom. Because when you name what you're feeling, you create a little distance, and distance gives you choices. Let's make it practical. You're in a meeting, you finally speak up, something you actually care about, and someone cuts you off, talks over you, dismisses it like it was nothing. The old pattern is instant. Are you serious? The inner fire turns on. But if you can catch one breath, you might notice something underneath the anger. Maybe it's, I feel invisible. Maybe it's, I worked hard on that. Maybe it's, I'm tired of being overlooked. And from that place, you don't have to explode. You can pause. You can speak slower. Or you can let it pass for now and address it later when you're not burning. That's the first practice, the one breath gap. The second practice is just as important, and honestly, it's where a lot of our anger comes from. Expectations. A lot of anger is disappointment wearing a louder outfit. We expect people to be like us, to have our manners, our sensitivity, our sense of timing, our sense of fairness, and then they don't, and it feels personal. But most of the time, it's not personal, it's just human. People are living inside their own weather, their own stress, their own habits, their own blind spots. When you expect people to move through the world the way you do, you suffer more. Not because you're wrong for having standards, but because you're asking reality to match your inner rule book, and reality usually doesn't sign that contract.
So sometimes the most peaceful thought isn't,
they should know better. It's simply, that's who they are today. Not approval, not surrender, just clarity. And clarity protects your peace. Now here's the third place where anger loves to hide: the need to be right. Sometimes we think we're defending truth, but we're really defending the ego's sore spot. And the cost is real. We pay with sleep, we pay with relationships, we pay with the rest of our day. So here's a question you can hold gently, like a warm mug in your hands. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be free? Because freedom looks like this. You don't attend every argument you're invited to. You don't climb into every emotional car crash happening around you. You let some things pass, not because you're weak, but because you're done spending your life on battles that don't matter in the long run. And that leads into the next practice: boundaries. A boundary isn't a wall. It's not punishment. It's not cold. A boundary is a door with a handle on your side. It's how you protect your energy, especially if you're the person everyone leans on. Maybe a friend calls late at night and wants to unload for an hour, and you care, but you're empty. A boundary might sound like, I want to be here for you. Tonight, I need to rest. Can we talk tomorrow? That's not selfish. That's honoring the fact that you're human. And when you protect your energy, you tend to show up with more kindness, not less. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated forms of strength: silence. There's a Buddhist practice called right speech, but you don't need the term to understand the feeling. It's the idea that words matter, and not every moment needs your words. Sometimes silence is how you refuse to feed the fire. Someone says something cutting. Maybe they want a reaction. Maybe they're upset and they're looking for a target. Silence doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you're choosing not to give your peace away for free. A simple filter helps here. If your next sentence won't bring more clarity, silence might be the wiser medicine. Not forever, not to avoid hard conversations, just long enough to stop the second arrow. Because once the second arrow starts flying, it's hard to stop it midair.
And now we come to the heart of it: letting go. Buddhism uses an image that's painfully accurate. Holding on to anger is like gripping something hot. You think it's for them, but it burns you first. Letting go doesn't mean what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you forgot. It doesn't mean you're letting people walk all over you. It means you stop donating your mind to the past. It means you stop paying rent to a moment that already ended. So here's a gentle closing practice, something simple you can try the next time anger arrives. When you feel it, just ask yourself, is this the first arrow or the second? And if you can, ask one more. What would happen if I didn't shoot the second one? Maybe you still feel the sting of the first arrow. That's human. But you might notice the suffering doesn't have to spread into the whole day. You may still feel anger tomorrow. Most of us will. But you might catch it sooner. You might feed it less. You might come back to yourself faster. Not perfect, just lighter. And if tonight, before you fall asleep, you want a tiny reflection, just one, think of one moment today where you paused, even a little, where you didn't say the thing, where you breathed first, where you chose not to add the second arrow. That moment matters, because peace isn't a destination, it's a practice, one breath at a time.